Hello. I hope you're having a beautiful evening wherever you are. Just give everyone a few moments to pop in. And if you want to share where you're joining from, and also just what's been coming up for you as we're winding down this cycle. I have some singing bowls in the back. Hello, hello. I see we have a few people joined us. Wonderful. So I'm going to just open up this space. Hello. Hi, Bonnie. I'm going to open up the space just with an invitation inward. Really simple, really easy. If you already have a way that you start to get into your meditation zone, you can begin that. Bonnie says, really feeling the Mercury-Pluto conjunction opposing natal Mercury and Mars. Yeah. How is that feeling? I imagine that's pretty transformative. And hello from Las Vegas, KTL, getting food ready for an afternoon tea party tomorrow. That sounds amazing. What a gift. Beautiful. So I'm sitting here with some of my favorite allies, roses, over here, quartz, some of my tarot cards, my oracle cards. I have a card that I pulled for the group today. And today, really, I just want to, here, I'm going to stop this music. I want for everybody to come away with clear awareness around what the themes are this month, and especially from a lunar cycle perspective. So I'm not going to go into as much of some of the deeper astrological workings tonight as I usually do, but really just want to emphasize the four major lunar phases. So new moon, first quarter moon, full moon, and last quarter moon. And so my intention is that you all come away with just an awareness and appreciation of where we are in our cycles right now and how you can then use this and then create your own intention. So I really want you to all be able to come away with, if not the full intention, because I also believe that sometimes around the new moons, we actually enter a somewhat mystical place where we're not necessarily going to know what the intention is. We're not going to know just yet what it is that we get to create this cycle. But as long as we are remaining in that open vessel, receptive energy, that's really the invitation, is to just get really receptive and present with what wants to be seated at this time, and then more starts to come. But I do find in such a strongly intellectual society, we really need something to tether our minds to. So I really like to use the moon signs as a tether into, I have an awareness that these are going to be the energies that are coming in this month. And so I don't have to force anything. I don't have to project any energy. And if I'm not feeling exactly what I thought, that's also okay, because there's so much nuance. There's so many subtle layers to everything. So let's check in here. Wonderful. Arizona, beautiful. Thank you. I love all of these plants. Taurus rising here. Okay. So wherever you are, just find a tall seat, rooted, grounded in your center. And so this will be an intention setting session. We're going to be here for about 30 minutes or so. And if you have a journal, notebook, anything you'd like to grab, a tea, I've got some cacao here in a perfect cup so that I don't spill it near my computer because it's Mercury retrograde time. And any other accoutrements that you like to just feel cozy and be really in your body as best you can. So you want to take a few deep breaths in through the nose and open mouth, exhale. One more like that. Inhale and exhale. we'll do a couple rounds of square breathing. So we'll inhale to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top of the inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the air out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And holding the breath out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in and blowing all the stagnant energy out. You can shake your hands. I'm going to shake anything off of your arms, off your legs, off the tips of your fingers, maybe off your hair, and just move around a little bit. Get really here. So a card that I pulled for everyone tonight to really embody, and I always ask in these kind of spaces, what would be the highest essence to focus on for the group? So this is something for the collective. And one of them, Stargazer. Let's see, make sure you can really see this one. Here we go. This is from the Angels and Oracles deck by Kyle Gray, and it's really, really beautiful. Sorry, Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. And so I love that this is coming up. We get to talk astrology tonight, and maybe if you're newer to astrology or you've been in this space for a while, this is just an affirmation, a confirmation that you're exactly in the right place. You are here learning something that's really potent and really helping you to connect to what else is possible and cosmic messages. I really feel also that since we're stepping into an Aquarius lunar cycle, there is a lot of that emphasis on our cosmic family. Aquarius has affinity with off-planet beings, interdimensional beings. This might be a reminder of we're not alone here. We're not meant to do this alone. You might already be connecting with spirit guides or different ancestors and landcestors, different beings that work with you from different dimensions and different ways of being. And I feel like in the same way you might think of a spirit guide, you can think of the energies and the archetypes in astrology. And another card that had also popped out of the deck was the Animal Guardian. And I really love this. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the root chakra because the root chakra is so important for this cycle. But her little subscript message is trust your instincts. And it's, I mean, I love the Black Panther and the owl. These are two that I really often work with, and the baby deer, it's so cute. But really getting in our bodies and seeing these two together, of course, as we are connecting with this cosmic wisdom, it's so important to also stay grounded. How can we integrate it, bring in more clarity? So thank you for those beings. And if you have any other spirit guides that want to come in and work with you today, wonderful. So I'm going to lean into the left brain a little bit and just share with you the 4 major signs that are coming up this month. And I'm just going to check in the message. Yeah. I'm wanting to know where I'm going in this relationship. Yeah, this is actually a really big time for relational awareness because we're in Aquarius season already. So the sun shining the light on Aquarius is really illuminating human relationships of all kinds. This is not only our romantic relationships, hello Francisco from Mexico, but also our community relationships, our platonic relationships, our friendships. The collective of humanity is all very held in this Aquarius energy, the sacred sisterhoods, the sacred brotherhoods, the sacred tribe, the sacred community. So with this new moon in Aquarius, this is happening January 31st. 9:46 p.m. Pacific time. So that actually might be just after midnight, February 1st, if you're on the East Coast, or that's about as many time zones as I can fit in my mind at this moment. So you'll want to check where that pertains to you in your time zone. But this coming Monday, and it's going to be at 12 degrees Aquarius, conjunct Saturn. So Saturn is really inviting in, yes, Bonnie's got it, the grounding. There's a lot of energy around healthy boundaries, making sure that we feel safe in our bodies, and also realizing that safety comes from belonging as well, belonging to our tribe, belonging to our community. And this has been a really big theme. This has kind of been the collective pain point for the past 2 years, especially since Saturn has been in Aquarius. We've been, a lot of people have been separated from family, a lot of different restrictions on what we can do out in the world and with our community. And as innovative as we are, it has been hard because we also need the physical. We also need the tangible. We can't just be living up in the mind all the time. We need the feeling of touch. We need the feeling of the hug. And Saturn ruling Aquarius really brings us down into that root chakra of I need to feel safe. I need to belong. And also seeing how that connects to our financials, abundance, prosperity. All of this is tied into safety as well. So for everyone where you have this between 12 and 15 degrees of Aquarius in your chart, this is going to be really potent for seeing where you get to ground. Where do you get to call in more rootedness? And what's your relationship like with your root chakra? We can think of the first year of life, almost from within the womb through to the first 12 months or so of life. We're really having our root chakra programmed. And so if you want to zip back all the way to that early time in your life where you were in your mother's womb, what was the story? What was your mother going through? Think of your mother's connection to her root chakra, and how is that part of you programmed? How is that energy programmed early in life? Are you still operating from those similar systems now? Have you evolved in your ability to hold space in the root chakra? How safe do you feel? These are all questions that you get to ask yourself with this new moon in Aquarius. And the new moon tends to really immerse the energy in the whole cycle. So what we begin the cycle with tends to be what we're working on throughout as this underlying energy. Because where the sun and the moon are coming together, it's really bringing together our purpose, sun, with our self-image and how we're seeing ourselves with the moon. And so that is a new way to step into who we want to be emotionally for the whole month. So after the new moon, 1 week after, we have the first quarter moon in Taurus, and that's February 8th. And the first quarter moon is always around crisis and action. And it doesn't always have to look like a crisis, but it's typically where at the time of the new moon, we know something's changing. We know we're ready for something to be liberated or shifted, for example, with this Aquarius energy, but we don't exactly know what, because it's the dark moon. The information is still internal. It's not yet made external. But by the time we get to the first quarter moon, the first half of the moon is illuminated. So half of the information is available. And we start to become very instinctually aware that, like, okay, there's something I have to do, and I'm going to take action on it. But there also might be a little bit of that unconscious, subconscious pull that's wanting to keep you in your comfort zone because it's Taurus. So this will also be a moon where you might get a very clear view of, well, where am I keeping myself safe by staying in my comfort zone? This is where it gets a little tricky. Like, what's the balance between staying comfortable versus like the absolute necessity of safety? And Uranus there is really inviting you to be very honest with those questions, because Uranus always says, choose change before change chooses you. If there's something that you've known that you've needed to change or shift about your routines or your rituals, or even your money story, because Taurus is also involved heavily in our money story, this is a time to make those changes. So around the first quarter moon, February 8th, you might feel very invited into this, oh, what do I get to do differently? Where am I staying small because I want to stay in my comfort zone? And where do I get to leave my comfort zone? This might invite up some emotional processing and feeling into, well, what is it that's scary about change? Where and why do I feel uncomfortable? And perhaps what can I lean into physically to help me feel safe when everything around me is changing? Then when we have the full moon in Leo, this is going to be February 16th. And sun and moon will be at 28 degrees of Aquarius and Leo, so fully opposing each other. This tends to bring up a lot of energy around relationships too. And so if we think about the Leo side of the equation, Leo is very much the heart and the individual and the family, the individual family, the family units, the smaller units that are perhaps more unique, more individual, tend to be represented by Leo energy. And then if we think of that sun, Aquarius, this is the broader human family. So there might be some tension between, well, what your individual family needs or is creating or is wanting and the collective humanity family. I remember there's a quote by Mother Teresa, and she says, sometimes we just draw our family circle too small. And that if we were able to draw the circle wider, there would be immense healing in the world. That is definitely a paraphrasing of what she said, but that's what I took from Mother Teresa. And just that ability to draw our family circle even wider. How can we expand our family circle? Because when we do that, we actually feel a sense of ownership. And interestingly enough, we tend to fight more or stand up more for the people in our family because we feel like they belong to us and we belong to them. So there's a really strong bond that's also held in that root chakra. And when we feel like, oh, it's like my family versus your family, or this idea versus that idea, and we feel really divided, which is obviously what's been happening in the world, it actually is dangerous for the root chakra because it starts to tear apart our feelings of being connected to the human family, our feelings of belonging on this earth. So an affirmation that I wrote down for myself, especially to work with during this full moon and throughout this cycle, is I am safe, I am here, I belong. And if I belong, therefore my voice belongs here. My voice is valid here. What can come up sometimes with the Leo Aquarius energy is almost this dissonance between one voice and the many voices. So if we are honoring that all humans in our human family, all voices are valid, then we know, well, I'm not exempt from that. That means my voice is valid. That means it's important for me to stand up with my confidence, with whatever it is that I want to express. So there might be an opportunity around this full moon for you to express yourself. Sometimes with the moon in Leo, this can look like really big feelings, like dramatic feelings. For the collective, I am really sensing that we will see some big energy increasing, especially around protests. I don't know if any of you are following the Freedom Convoy of the truckers in Canada. I'm originally Canadian, living in the States, but watching from afar and witnessing, wow, this is really, really interesting. And it's actually a perfect example of how we're seeing all these different individual units, these different families popping up from all over the country, all supporting a movement, because everybody, no matter our political ideologies or beliefs or medical choices, we all desire freedom. We all need freedom. It's a basic human foundation of being here. So wherever you land on that, just having the awareness of there's a lot going on in the realms of liberation, stepping outside of our comfort zone, trying something new, trying on a new perspective. So this full moon, I think, will be very much about that. And so if we link all of that energy back to, well, the new moon in Aquarius, where do we get to be innovative with our self-image? Who else do we get to be? Something really cool about the Aquarius archetype being ruled both by Saturn and by Uranus is the connection to long-term memory that spans both in the past and in the future. It's like timelines. So you might be, psychic and exploring different timelines, right? Because that's what it is to be psychic. It's exploring, if you stay on this path, this is the likely result that you will see. And so I actually have an invitation for everyone to tune in to the Akashic Records. And so I'm following the prayer pathway as laid out by Linda Howe in her book, How to Read the Akashic Records. And so it's an opening prayer. I'm just going to speak the prayer out loud, and you can kind of follow along, close your eyes, and allow yourself to get into this space. And since this will be recorded, you'll get to come back to this if you want to do this again. And then we'll just stay in there for a few moments, and I'll ask some leading questions or some guiding questions that will hopefully be supportive for you as you're sort of navigating the Akashic realms. And the main reason I'm doing this is because Aquarius is said to be the Akashic record keeper. So the ability to hold all information, and then from that place, almost like a resource librarian, source the very particular, most beneficial information. So beginning the opening prayer, just finding a good seat. So tall spine, crown of head, reaching towards the heavens, feeling rooted in the ground. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Don't do this if you're driving. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God Goddess, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic Records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of me have for me. This time, we're going to say those last 3 lines again, but just insert your name. So help me to know, Nura Rachelle, say your name, in the light of the Akashic Records, to see yourself, your name, through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of you have for you. The records are now open. So in this place, with all of this information floating around Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Uranus, Saturn, astrology. Maybe this is a whole new language for you and you're just here soaking it in, witnessing it. If you have access to a journal, just maybe writing down 3 words that have come to you that are asking for your attention during this Aquarius lunar cycle. You can ask yourself, what are the necessary shifts you can make to support your rootedness? What are the necessary shifts you need to make to support your rootedness? Another question. What am I building? It doesn't have to be completely specific. Even if you just get a word of what you're building, you might not even fully make sense of what it means in this moment, but trust that it's information for you for this lunar cycle that you get to play with. You can ask yourself, how am I being liberated physically, financially, and socially? How am I being liberated physically, financially, and socially? Where can I release censorship? How can I allow myself to be seen more authentically? Where can I release self-censorship? And so we're still floating around in the Akashic records. You can ask if you have any guides, spirit guides, animal guides, higher self, any part of you also, any inner child or inner elder that wants to come forth, be with you here in this space. If they have any words of wisdom for you for this time that you get to act on this month. Something that really comes through for the collective is becoming more aware of our collective evolution. There's a collective healing journey that we're all part of. And this Aquarius season, we get to step even more into mental awareness around what it is. Because Aquarius wants us to know. Aquarius wants us to know the information, to have the information so that we can make a sovereign choice about our life path. What we get to build for the future, collaboratively with our communities. And so if you want to write down any final words that come up for you, floating around in your astral plane, you can start to center yourself back down into your body. And usually you can spend a lot longer in this space, but I just wanted to invite you into that just for a brief moment. So coming back into the body, every time you go into the Akashic records and you do an opening prayer, the pathway prayer process to get into them, you want to always complete your journey with gratitude, appreciation, saying thank you to your guides, thanking the Akashic records. And so this is a closing prayer that I'd like to offer. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. Amen. And so this is something that I do daily, and it really, especially if you're on a journey of mastering your psychic abilities, it's really powerful because it builds integrity, for one, with you and your spirit guides. And so that's also an opportunity for this month, is to build greater integrity in your spiritual practice, in your intention setting, in your rituals. Because as you stay committed, it's almost like your higher self is like, oh, she's doing it. He's doing it. They're here. They're listening. I'm just going to start downloading a whole bunch of information to them, and they're going to understand how to act on it. And so I'd love it if you could pop into the chat and share any things that have come up for you, if you have any questions. And I just wanted to mention as well, the last quarter moon, which I didn't say the date of yet, is February 23rd. It's in Sagittarius. So by this time of the last quarter moon, the sun will be in Pisces. And just as that first quarter moon, if we think back to the first quarter moon in Taurus, February 8th, we are starting to open up to the realm of possibility and where we get to take action on what has been divinely seeded within us. At the last quarter moon, we're starting to really close down, integrate, feel into the wisdom that has been presented for the cycle. And so this will be a last quarter moon in Sagittarius with the sun in Pisces. And so there will be a lot more of a spiritual openness, a spiritual integration that occurs. So how it feels to me is that the beginning of the lunar cycle feels very mentally heavy, a lot of information coming at you fast. And for that reason, it's even more important to be in our bodies so that we can be a very clear filter for truth. But then we will get to do the spiritual work with all of the information. And so this is a really good time to stay very connected, stay very clear, especially with your energetic boundaries. We can talk about the root chakra in terms of, physical boundaries and communicating our boundaries, but also energetic boundaries. Sometimes when we are on a spiritual journey and we are becoming lighter and brighter, that can sometimes leave us open and susceptible to, psychic attack or energy vampires or anything like that. So remembering to stay self-contained, confident, it doesn't mean you have to put up a wall, but constantly asking all energy that is not yours to be returned to its source. A way that I like to do this is through heart commands. And so I'll just say, dear heart, please lift from my body and field all energy that is not mine. Now, deep breath in, open mouth, exhale. And then I will refill and I'll say, dear heart, please fill my body and field with all of my energy that I might have scattered to the wind and pull it all back into this body, into my body and field now. And this is a really beautiful practice that can keep the energetic boundaries strong. It can help us to feel safe. It also builds self-trust and really keeps us in a place of discernment, especially with all of the different information, all of the different options, all of the different timelines, right? The more we are in our own body in a space of self-trust, the more we will be able to make aligned choices. Okay. So thank you for being here with me. I hope this serves you in the intentions that you are creating for the coming month. Just remembering big themes, root chakra. We're working through staying grounded, healing anywhere that we don't feel like we have enough or that we are enough. So what can you do? What choices can you do to feel even more stable? And an affirmation that can support you no matter where you are, no matter what you're working with. I am here. I am real. I am safe. All right. Thank you, everyone, for connecting with me. And we'll be here again for next month's new moon in Pisces. That will be February 28th at the same time. And we'll be making this a regular thing. So thank you for joining me. And hope you all have a beautiful, blessed weekend. Bye for now.